We need to fix that clock.
5:30, September 8th, 2025. We'll call this meeting of the Legislative Committee to order. And Commissioner Sullivan, would you ask for an invocation?
Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you give us, Lord, the start of another great week. Lord, we ask that you just be with us, everyone here tonight. Pray that you be with us in this meeting, Lord. May we be about your business as we discuss issues for Sumner County. Father, we just pray that you would let us walk in the light of your path and help us make good decisions on a daily basis. In Jesus' name, amen.
Before I entertain a motion to approve the agenda, you have a handout in front of you. This is something that was brought to my attention literally about 1:30 this afternoon, and this is about a $12 million pass-through grant coming from the state via PDEC, which we would be the administrator of, and it's to finish up the water project up in the northern end of the county. So when we're approving the agenda, I would ask that if it's okay with you all, that we add that, and we can add that down under new business.
Second.
Yeah. Motion.
Motion.
I don't think there'd be an objection.
And that's with adding this as well. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes from August 11th.
We need to approve the agenda.
What, I have to
We
say,
just did.
yeah, you were a little,
No,
I'm sorry.
you were a
He's
little
talking
bit
about the
ahead of
addition.
me.
No, you don't,
Oh, sure.
we just approved it as amended.
I didn't hear anybody say as amended. I
That's what he
apologize.
said. Yeah, no,
Well,
yeah.
and you got ahead of me, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I
I would
sure did.
I would like to add something.
Motion to reconsider approval of the agenda.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. It's hard being the chair.
Tonight in budget, we will be discussing paying the staff at the judicial library that raises their COLA. And I was wanting to know if we could get a resolution put together from the legislative requiring that in lieu of a director, an interim director in the future,
So,
that we need to discuss do with that if this happens again, finance can go ahead and do.
all right, so we're going to add, so the grant will be item G under new business. Item H would be this COLA for the library.
Would this grant go through, would it need to also go on the budget side as well?
Okay, I'll put it on budget, that's fine. And I had questions about it later.
Gotcha.
So,
Motion to approve is amended by.
Second.
okay, we've got a motion second to approve the amended agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you for catching me on that. All right, we'll move to the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve by form.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Recognition of the public. There's several that have signed up to speak. Since we've got several things on the agenda, we're going to give it 3 minutes. 3 minutes rather than the normal 5, because we've got several things to discuss. The first item would be, first individual would be Ms. Mary Janelle.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about 2 points on the legislative meeting. One is the term limits, and just to say that I'm in favor of term limits, two terms, however it comes into play. That's one thing I wanted to say. The other thing is about the opioid. There's a request to change the opioid committee. The committee that we have is under the budget. It was assigned from budget, and Mr. Choate appointed the commissioners and helped appointed the members. We discussed at our meeting, not last time, but the one before, about starting to look at the bylaws, and we did not change anything at that time. We were going to readdress that later on. committee has been recognized as the state's model for opioid abatement program. I went to a program 2 weeks ago at Ball State Volunteer Behavioral Health, and they had an open house. They were showing off their vendors and the vending machine that they can dispense Narcan out of. That was one of the things that the opioid committee, with the money that we had provided for different 501Cs, it's helping the community. The committee will, I'm sorry, I'm in an hospital. I have some speech problems, also emergencies, so I have to talk a little slower. So the committee's mission is to save lives. That was the bottom line, period. Save lives. How we do that with the different 501Cs in the community and our collaboration. We talked about that at the opening of the Volunteer Behavioral Health Program. The Tennessee, the EO from the Tennessee Opioid Abatement Program that disperses the funds, the lady that took care of that, she was talked about our committee, the model, how it has been an excellent, they look at it as excellent. Sumner County has the excellence of what we've done. And I would like you not to change the committee now. We're doing a lot of work, and to pull out and change all the committee members would be an injustice at this point. If you want to do it later on down the road, you know, maybe next time when the new commission comes in. But I would like to ask you to leave it as is so that we can finish our work. And it also was under budget. In my opinion, it should go under budget and be discussed at that point. But I just wanted to let you know what good work we've done and what good work the people in the programs have done for the opioid. We have the navigator at the hospital. That's one thing that we've done, and that has been extremely good for the community. And then all the other Sumner Coalition, they have, they're very involved. They're involved with schools, and there's a lot of work that we do. We actually, in their recovery court, so much of our, you let me know.
Yeah.
Well, let me
Just
finish
your last comment.
But I would like you to hold this for a while until we finish up our work. And just, I noticed it said starting in September there would be a change, but we're past that. So if you could look at it that way, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Joe McLaughlin. And just a reminder, state your name and address.
Joe McLaughlin, 2238 Highway 25, Cottontown. I'm going to make some statements about the proposed fire referendum. If a referendum about fire protection goes on a ballot, it'll basically ask if residents of the unincorporated areas of the county want to pay for fire protection, yes or no. There are several questions that need to be answered or explored ahead of time so the voters can make an informed decision. What if the referendum fails? What fire protection can the residents expect then? Will the county continue to fund the volunteer fire departments at the current level, decrease funding level, or cut off funding altogether? If funding is cut altogether, what's the plan for when the volunteer fire departments start to shut down? What if the referendum passes? How is it going to be funded? Well, with a tax. What's going to be the rate? How is the rate going to be determined? What's the plan for fire protection then? Is the county going to phase out the volunteer fire departments and establish a full-time fire department? Are they going to stay with the current 9 nonprofit volunteer fire departments? Will volunteer fire departments have to merge together? If it stays with the current model, will the funding be increased so the volunteer fire departments can grow and keep up with the growth of the county? How will the money be divided up, or what determination is going to be used to divide the money between the departments? or other emergency agencies in the county be affected by the outcome of the referendum? What role does the county commission have after the vote? Can it go against the will of the people? These are all questions that need to be explored and answered before a referendum is placed on the ballot. I suggest the county commission establish a rural fire protection advisory panel chaired by the county mayor in consultation with CTASC, with representatives from the volunteer fire departments and citizens in the unincorporated area of the county. The goal being to study and develop recommendations for future fire protection funding and operations in the unincorporated area of the county. The worst possible thing to do would be to hold a referendum and not have a plan in place for the outcome. Thank you.
Mr. Mike McCall.
Can I see it? Yeah, I can.
State your name and address.
102, Michael Clark, 102 Tioga Trail, Hendersonville. As far as the request for the Public Act to exclude county employees from elected offices, I think that would be a good thing. It would take a lot of, maybe, what's the word I'm looking for here, stress off of them when they come in case they do have those conflicts of interest. It just seems to me that that would be the way to go on that. If it makes it on you and you can't see yourself being able to do that, at least next budget cycle, sever the county and the school budget. So maybe y'all won't have to be here at 3 o'clock in the morning working on that. You can vote one time, one the next. As far as term limits, I am totally agreed in that. I've said it for years. I think that's the only thing that's going to save our country. I think you can look at government as a whole, starting at the top, some of the career politicians we have there on both sides of the aisle. I'm not picking on one or the other. We'd be a lot better out without them. A no vote or an abstain or an abstention from voting is the same thing as a no vote. And the last time I looked at any figures, 80% of the people in this country, probably more in Sumner County, are for term limits. So if you vote no or abstain, you're basically shutting out 8 out of 10 of your constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Curtis Williams.
Hello, Curtis Williams, 1027 Jackson Heights. I'm here to speak about the fire tax referendum. I think a lot of residents would be excited about a fire tax. As a conservative, I have a little bit of issue with it because I have absolutely no idea what that means. Does that mean that we're going to get the $1.3 million funded through a fire tax that was requested? Are y'all going to do like all the other counties and start to have $6 to $10 million fire departments? Every other county that I can find that does a fire tax, as far as population, Bradley County has 65,000 outside of city limits. Their fire tax raises about $5.9 million a year. Cheatham County, they only have 27,000 residents outside of city limits. Theirs is $1.8 million. If you jack that up to the 70,000 citizens that we have, once again, that's closer to the $6-7 million range. If y'all are going to do that, I'm very excited for that. That means each station is going to be able to have 3, 4 full-time career guys on shift at a time. But that just seems like a very broad question to put on a referendum. I'm sure there's going to be some discussion take place before y'all actually do this. However, I really think that y'all should look at this decision before you do it. I wish y'all would do some kind of ad hoc committee, some type of side discussion. We've done it before. We came up with the raise in the fire department donation and the contract. That, of course, got rejected, so here we are again doing something different. I can't see the jump from the $1.3 to $1.4 million that the fire department's requesting to go up to a fire tax that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 to $10 million. Once again, if you'll do it, great, but I can't see the commission actually voting for it, so I'd much rather have a real-world solution than something that we know at the end of the day that is most likely not going to actually happen. Thank you.
Jim Latimer, 1578 Latimer Lane, Hendersonville, Tennessee. I'm here to speak about the term limits. Thank y'all for letting us come and address you. And thanks to each of the commissioners for their service. I know it's a thankless job, like herding cats or fighting alligators half the time, getting anything done, and I appreciate your persistence in staying with it. This question goes back to the founding of the Republic. Some of the founders had vast different ideas about this. Thomas Jefferson was totally for term limits. He thought, having just escaped from the rule of England, that he did not want anybody in office to control the citizens of the country. He wanted a short term and then out of office and let somebody else come in. Alexander Hamilton was the exact opposite. He wanted to have qualified people in place that knew the government and maintained the rule down through the line. Now, as the years have passed, we have become a totally different country. The founders thought that the people that would come in to represent them would be farmers, shopkeepers, people who had ships. They couldn't stay in office for a long period of time. They had to get office served, do their duty, get back out, go home, take care of their business. Somebody else comes in and takes their place. Right now, I believe across the country, there is a huge demand for term limits, that people want to go ahead and see a churn of the people that are in office to go ahead and bring in fresh ideas, fresh ways of looking at things, and try to find more solutions to our problems. Again, thank you for your service, and I would ask that y'all go ahead and forward this resolution to go ahead and put this on the referendum for people to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. David Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. David Klein, 388 Brandon Mill Road, Gallatin, Tennessee. I'll just speak briefly on the items on the agenda. The referendum on volunteer fire departments. I don't know if we've properly sussed out all of the options available to us. I've talked to several fire chiefs about it, and they're certainly not cemented together on where we should go here. I think some sort of an ad hoc, or at least people who are stakeholders in the volunteer fire departments. It would make a lot of sense to look at all the options available to us. This is not a problem that just showed up, and it's not a problem that's going to go away soon. And we can do it quick, and it costs the county a lot of money. And as we all know, as commissioners, our responsibility is to the citizens and to protect their dollars, their tax dollars. I think rather than rush right into this, and I understand we have not rushed right into this. This has been an issue for as long as I've been a commissioner, and probably longer than that. But I really think that thorough research and the thought process would make a lot more sense than putting it up for a referendum at this point, because I just don't know that we know what our options are. So that's how I feel about the volunteer fire departments. I know that it could start out, I've heard $100,000 to $110,000 per station is a reasonable amount of money for a volunteer fire department. But it can just keep growing and growing. We know that our EMS was once a volunteer organization, and now we're well over $1 million in ambulance. So it's one of those things that can get away from us really quickly if we're not careful. Excluding county employees who to run for office, elected office, I think that makes sense. I think we would all be able to say that there is some sort of a conflict of interest there. I don't know how serious it is, but I know that, for instance, sheriffs are encouraged to run for the county commission. It'll get them raises. School people are encouraged to run for the county commission. It can get them raises. These are not fair assessments of what we should be doing, especially when it comes to the budget committee, and the budget committee obviously sends that budget to the entire commission. These are something to think about, You know, we can always revoke it if we don't like the way it's going. But it is certainly a concern that I think we should run it through the commission again and see if it'll pass. Term limits, I'm in favor of them. You certainly, as a citizen who just wants to be involved in city or county politics, between school board, between county commission, being the, you know, running for mayor, you can make a career out of it if you want to. There's plenty of places for you to get involved if you want to be involved for 40 years. And we've got some commissioners who are about there. So I think term limits make a lot of sense. I think we'll get a lot more people involved in the county, the citizens, if there was a turnover that was more like that. And then the reorganization of the opioid abatement group. I hope that we've considered Mr. Dustin Owens, who is basically pioneered this organization, and see what his thoughts are. I'm not saying it shouldn't turn over, but I'm not saying at this critical point with the whole learning process. We talked about, you know, the learning process to become a commissioner, the learning process to become any kind of elected official. There's been a big learning curve with that opioid abatement, and I think we should consider leaving it where it's at least for a while until we get through some of the difficult stuff. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Matt Campbell.
Good afternoon. Matt Campbell, 1022, Paddock Park, Galveston. I want to speak on the OPID committee. I sit on that committee as a citizen, and also, I mean, I quit drinking 8 years ago, so I've been in recovery for drinking. I haven't drank 8 years. So I think I bring an aspect to that too. I would just ask that we leave the committee as it is for now until the next election season, and then do it. There's a really big issue. The fact is, we have 5 organizations right now that have already went through the application process. We did all the vetting. Their applications were good, and we have over $150,000 in grant right now. And if we change this committee now, those 5 organizations will lose out, plus we would lose out on that $150,000 grant that we've already worked to get the organizations. So these are 5 organizations in Sumner County that would lose out on $150,000 just by switching this committee. The proposed committee, the proposed legislation is 1 county commissioners. We asked that it be 2 county commissioners. It also states that the proposed one is a representative from the medical community / or recovery court. We would ask that it be a representative from the medical community that is impacted by overdoses. And then another, it's not on the proposed one, but one that we would request, if this was to change, these are the requests. Because right now we have, I think, 3 commissioners, we have the sheriff's department, we have the mayor, 2 citizens. So just going off of what they propose to change, they would knock it down to 1 county commissioners. It'd be a total of 7 members. We would ask that it be 9 members. And then 1 member from the recovery community. And like I said, because this just says a representative in the medical community, but really what this deals with, I mean, I feel like it should be a medical representative that's impacted by overdoses so that they can see what's going on, so they know the request. But we'll have an election cycle next August, and that's when I was kind of under, when we were going through like what the bylaws were, because there's really nothing. And Dustin has done a phenomenal job. I mean, he is literally taking on something, and it's, I mean, all the organizations that we've helped, or people that have come to us under Coalition Prevention, everything that they do in these schools, I mean, they're able to do a lot of this stuff, and even the sheriff's department are able to do all this stuff because of Dustin. And if we change this now, I mean, everything that's been going on for the past year is just a waste, almost, I would assume. So I just ask that
election, and then those commissioners can decide what to do. I would just hate for these organizations to lose out on their grant money that Dustin's worked to get, and the committee, all the research and the 500-page applications we had to go through. So that's it. That concludes the public recognition. Report of the chairman. I have no report at this time. Report of the county mayor. He's in Tanzania, so it'll be hard to hear him. We'll move on to old business. There's a item left over from the previous legislative committee, a resolution to ask the state legislature to close the primaries. What is the will of the body?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Motion's dead without a second, so we will move on.
I would, if it's not gonna go anywhere, it doesn't look like it is, I'd motion to remove it.
Fair. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Sumner, if you'll just remove that from future agendas, please.
Will do.
Thank you. First item under new business is to discuss the meeting rescheduled for Columbus, since we were scheduled to meet on Columbus Day. Does anybody have any objection to moving it to the Tuesday, the next day? At the
Motion
same
to
time?
move it. Second.
Motion and second to move it to the Tuesday. Any discussion to that?
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, that'd be the 14th.
That'd be the 14th, correct?
It's 5:30.
At 5:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You said that was October 14th?
That's correct.
Thanks. All right. Next is the Veterans Service Report. So what do we need to do on this?
That's just gonna be docketed.
So, just for informational purposes?
Yes,
only?
sir.
Thank you. All right. Move it. Go ahead.
Sir.
It's not the first time I've had to claim ignorance.
Sorry, I tried to do it. We submitted the written report. We had 5 little highlighted items. All 5 of those veterans are 7 years or older. And 3 of them, had they not gotten the VA assistance we were able to get them, we're going to have to leave the county. They weren't able to afford to live in their houses. So it just kind of highlights some of the impact that we've been having. The back part of the report, the numbers look way down from our previous reports. That's mainly because our new software system doesn't keep track of the forms we're filling out and the other activities we're doing. I've got a meeting tomorrow with the state to try and figure out if there's a better way to use their new system. I find it very frustrating, and it's been causing us a lot of rework. And last thing is that at the end of this month, we've got our state training in Knoxville. So we're going to have to close the office for 3 days at the end of the month just to go out over to Knoxville to get our retraining done for maintain our certification. So we've been helping out a lot of vets and making some things happen. Haven't been here in a minute, so wanted to see if there are any questions for us.
Any questions? Can I just say something? I never get to address you guys because I haven't been on legislative, but thank you for what you do. I've had several opportunities in the past several years to really help some ladies whose husbands have passed away, and I mean, it just changed their life what you guys are able to do. So thank you again for what you guys do for a bit.
I got a house call with a recent widow. Her husband passed on Friday. And she called up and she said, I just knew I needed to call you, so I'm going to go see her tomorrow. It makes a difference for all the folks. It kind of makes them feel connected. And then, I think it helps out all along the way. So I appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Anybody else? Thank you for what you do. All right, next item of business is the referendum on the fire tax legislation.
I have a motion to approve it. I'd like to get in queue and make an amendment.
Any motion and second?
So, yeah, I agree with the gentleman, the folks who spoke earlier about a study on this. But I don't think it should hold anything up. I don't think that this is gonna be a couple year process anyway. I just wanna be super clear about what the step we're at here. The step we're at is to request that the state allow us to do this. So that's not gonna be until state open session in January. So in all likelihood, at the earliest, this would be, next year, and I doubt that we actually get it on the ballot for next year. I think this is probably a 2-year out thing, depending on, if the state actually kicks that up. Or kicks it back to us. I don't think we should wait on it, but I do think we should appoint somebody. And I don't know if this, I'll defer to you as the better understanding of Robert's rules here. I don't know if we need to make this separate, but I would like to go ahead and move forward with this. And I'll happy to add an amendment, or I'll do this separately, which is to have the Committee on Committees appoint. I think the Committee on Committees should appoint this. In just a minute, I'm going to talk about the opioid abatement and why I don't think that should be one person appointing all of it. I don't think, in general, one person. I did not want that because I don't think one person should have the ability to just centralize decision making. So in the same way, there's nothing against the county mayor. I think he would make fine appointments, but in general, procedurally, that's what we have a Committee on Committees for. I think we should have Committee on Committees put together and appoint a group to study this. So my amendment would be to go ahead and pass this forward, and also request the Committee on Committees form a study group and appoint that as a subcommittee. That's my motion.
Second, okay with that?
Yeah, if I could.
Yes.
So you want to run the tandem, I guess?
Yes. That's what you do in business.
Well, we're in gut.
Run it like a business.
May I speak to that? Chair of Committee on Committee? I would prefer the Health and Emergency Service. Yeah, that's a list.
We can try it. It's your potato.
I would like you to set it up, let us know how many people you would like on that committee, and then we can do it from there.
Yeah, there's sure, I'll send you that email.
I'm encouraged by this. Since 1990, if someone's wondering, we've been discussing fire, helping volunteer fire department, and even before then. The reason why I know that because I was on the commission in 1990. Maybe some of this is directed.
I was 9 in
to me about the tournaments, whatever. So good, but we've had ad hoc committees. We've kicked this back and forth to different committees over the years, and I think finally, maybe, we're getting to the point where we can do something to help the volunteer fire department. I don't like fire tax. It's going to affect me, but I'm ready to do something. We've got to have something to protect the homes and the people out in the county, and it's getting to the point where some of these departments are not too reliable on getting folks to be able to volunteer, let alone get out. But anyway, it's time that we do something, and this is a good step.
Mr. Sedgwick, I just wanted to point out that if it's an ad hoc or a subcommittee, it's got to come out of a committee that it's going to answer to. So I don't think this committee on committee thing is going to work. It's got to report to somebody. We always have to form a standing committee, is what you're saying.
Or it's going to be committee appointed, yeah.
I was going to change mine, but she was in the format.
So if you send it to Committee on Committee, we have health, for instance, we have Health and Emergency Service. decide who all's gonna be on the ad hoc. And then or a standalone committee, I'm happy to do the work, but I want the assignment. I need to know what you're looking for.
I was gonna just change, maybe help us out here. Go.
Let me go with Mr. Becker first.
Well, I would think that what Mr. Sidler said, it might make sense to have it report back to the health and
That's what I was
services.
That's what I was gonna do.
So either that committee chooses the ad hoc committee, which is sort of our normal, or I guess we could get the committees to formally provide the committee members, but if you're gonna rely on him to tell you what he wants, then to me, I think it makes sense just to send this to Health and Emergency Service and let them deal with the ad hoc committee.
So to make this super, you don't have to make an amendment.
Yeah.
To make this super clean, I'll change my amendment. And I want to make one more comment. I'll change my amendment so that, Health and Emergency Services appoints this, and that, that committee will report up through Health and Emergency Services. And I just want to make one more comment on after something you said, which is.
Just one moment.
Is that what more? When you
If
send it to
health
Health and
emergency-
Emergency Services,
yeah.
they can say, no, we don't want to touch it.
They could, yeah, I think we're gonna,
We could bring it back up if they don't.
But if we made it into a standing committee, which is fine, the way we're looking at opioid with assignment is what I'm after, so
Yeah.
chairman of committee on committee. I can find
This-
people, but I need to make sure that they're in
This
the
is a
right
study group.
department.
This is different at this point. We're not, and this was the comment I was about to make. We're way early in the process here, which is why I don't think it makes sense to delay anything. Just to be super clear, this is a request to have the state let us put this on a referendum, right? Like, we are like way early in here. And so I think we don't need a standing committee. I think it's fine to just have it, because this is a study group, that's one. And two, just a general comment, I don't think I should have an opinion over a fire tax or not having a fire tax, which is why I think this is a referendum, right? I represent a almost entirely, incorporated area. So like, this is super early. We request that the state, allows this, and then we put it to a referendum, and we just listen. That's what this is. And in the meantime, we get plenty of information out there so that we can put information out to the citizens and give them, and let them be highly educated, and maybe, bring folks in from those areas, citizens into that committee, and let them be a part of the process. That is my purpose for this, anyway. Sorry to rattle.
so what we're really trying to do is just form a committee that would form a study
That's it.
group. I can do that without motion. I can form an ad hoc committee of this committee without motion to put a study group together.
You could.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Either do that route, or we can make a request for the Health and Emergency Service, and if they don't want to, then it comes back.
I think it belongs to Health and Emergency Service, and if they don't want to, we can take it on here.
Correct. That would be.
So let me make an amendment to your amendment on Health 1, is to send this to request that Health Emergency Services take this up at their next meeting. That effectively tables this for 1 month to give them an opportunity to look at it.
Second.
Everybody agree with that?
Are you gonna vote on the amendment, or are you gonna change your motion?
I'll change my motion to integrate that into it.
That's perfectly
so-
fine. And with this, Commissioner Shows.
Yep, I'm fine.
Restate your motion,
So my motion is to, just where it's there, my motion is to continue this request, for, a referendum request for the state. In addition, to request that, Health and Emergency Services form a subcommittee study group on this, and we will table this for 1 month, in the interim. That's my motion.
What's 80 tabled a month?
Well,
We'll leave it on old business.
now, he's not really tabling it,
Just-
sending it to Health.
We're sending it to Health and Emergency Services.
Just the ad hoc?
Just the ad hoc part.
Okay.
Correct.
It's effectively tabled.
But
It's
the-
not formally tabled.
but the request to push the legislation forward is a go. It should go on and be moved to the full commission.
Okay.
Because it is two parts, we may want to have two different motions.
I would strongly encourage.
Then, all right, then.
What's your first motion?
Then my first motion is just to push this on as is.
Okay. Any discussion to that motion?
I would only request that I be allowed to make this second one before we move on.
Sure.
Okay.
Any discussion to that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, Commissioner Shepard.
So now I would like to make a request, maybe we don't even need this. We could just make a request if you want to do
I
that.
think Mr. Sutherland would prefer
Would you-
a formal motion.
Then I will make a motion for this committee to request that Health and Emergency Services appoint a subcommittee to study this.
Second.
All right.
I'll allow you to call the question.
He does that all the time.
I do have a question though.
Okay.
I know that's hard to believe. So we don't get into the problem or discrepancy as we did with animal control. This is gonna be a long, drawn-out process. We know that going in. My question is, for legal, should we call this a study group rather than an ad hoc? So we don't have to run into that 6 months as our standard rules call for?
It's actually less than 12 months or less.
12 months,
I mean, we're gonna be,
if you want to just call it a study session, then it's going to keep showing up on the HEMS agenda.
we'll call it ad hoc.
Any discussion to this motion?
Call the question, Chairman.
Question?
Second.
Call. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All in question? Aye. Any opposed? No. Now, all in favor of the regular motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah.
All right. We made that difficult. All right. Next is a request for a public act to exclude county employees from elected office.
I'm gonna move to approve and I have a comment on this because it's,
Second, I'll get the cue.
yeah. So this was what we agreed on, and I can go back here that this was not a public act because I remember this conversation. I made several comments about different counties being very different in terms of demographics. And I think what passed, and if we need to defer it for research, that's fine, but what I wanted to note that I believe what was actually passed from the last legislative was a private act. So not a public act that would apply to all counties, but a private act that would apply to only Sumner County. That is what I believe we passed, and I would move to pass that. So if we want to amend it, I don't think it should need to be amended because that's what I actually got through last time, but just to be super clear, I'll go ahead and amend this. I'd like to make an amendment to request this to be changed to a private act to exclude county employees from elected county office from Sumner County. That's my motion for the amendment. I don't know if it's got a second.
Seeing no second, the amendment is dead. We're back on the main motion.
I get it.
Mr. Rogers.
So I've got issues with this. I don't like, I think I said this when it was on the commission floor, I don't think the person's constitutional rights should end based on who they're employed by. Now granted, there's conflicts that can be there, but state law that I worked with now, Commissioner of Agriculture, Andy Holt, passed 3 terms ago, 3 legislative sessions ago, we got it passed that they have to declare a conflict if it's affected by money or their spouse or their self works for the county of which they're serving. So there's bumpers or guardrails, if you will, for that. I think just the broad sweep of asking or having a county employee not to where he or she can't serve their county is kind of an overreach for this body. And maybe it's just because of the mindset of the bumpers we already have there. But I don't like it, and I can't support it.
So, as a former county employee, and I was not a county commissioner when I was in the school system, but I think as Sumner County Schools being the largest employer in Sumner County, I think if you do this, you're gonna get rid of a very large amount of wealth of knowledge about what goes on in those programs, not just voting on their salaries from time to time. So I would be totally against this moving forward at all, in my opinion. I don't think it's a good idea. There's a lot of people that bring a lot of good things to the table that we're telling them, no, you can't serve. So.
Commissioner Harris. Mr. Chairman, several years ago, we formed let me back up a minute. Someone brought it up about the deputies running for office. Several years ago, we passed a resolution that created a civil service. And that had something to do with what we're talking about here. That keeps those folks from having to worry about getting fired if they don't support the sheriff in the way that he suggested when we go in there and that floor. So I don't have any problem with the sheriff's deputy running for office. I don't have any problem with anybody from the ambulance service running for office. It all gets down to this. A person got a right to run for what they want to, whether you like it or not. That's just the way I feel about it. So.
Any other discussion?
I was gonna say a couple things, but I don't think it's gonna go very far. I mean, look, last time with the previous, legislative body, this one where I'm like 55-45 on it. I actually argued the other direction on it. I think that it is, I don't think there's, just to be super clear, I think you had one of the commissioners had told me, Mr. Harrison told me about a time when a commissioner straight up told a previous sheriff, well, I don't agree with what you're doing, and that's fine. And people, I want to be real clear here. I don't think that there's anything been nefarious. I want to get away from throwing stones about these things. It's just about procedural, right? Like to try to not put people in positions where they have to worry about compromise. And I would note, again, I'm 55-45 on this. I think all the points here have been made, but I do believe that in other bodies, state legislatures, certainly at the federal level, and I believe at the state level as well, the legislative body that owns the purse does typically have stricter rules around who can be a member of that if they are an employee of that body. I believe that is the case. I know it is the case federally. I think it might be in the statewide. But, I mean, I certainly know you can't be a member of the military and on active duty and serve in Congress. You can't be a reservist. But, look, I don't think it's going to go any further. I'm glad we had the discussion. It is what it is. I think there are good arguments on both sides of this.
Any more discussion? All in favor of Commissioner Shove's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion fails. Moving on, next item of business is the resolution on term limits.
Motion to approve, and I want to get in queue.
I'll second. I want to get in the queue.
We have motion and second, so.
I'm talking a lot today, so. Look, this is just the same as the theme here for me is that I think big decisions, if we possibly get them, need to go out to the citizens to make. So this is very analogous to the fire tax, which I think we unanimously approved. This is not a resolution for term limits. This is a resolution asking the state legislature to allow us to put term limits onto a ballot and consider them. So, we are in step 1 of a step 4 process here, where people are going to get a lot of chance to talk about this and argue it, and I'm of the opinion that this should go out to a referendum, because it is kind of a big deal. I don't understand. We're super early in this. I find it hard to argue against asking citizens for guidance. In the same way, I think it's gonna be funny, because I think a lot of the people are gonna be for the term limits, are gonna be against fire tax, and I see these very, very similarly. It's asking citizens for guidance, and I'm just never afraid of that, so that's my reason.
So, I added at the last full commission meeting, I did add an amendment and it passed. And I was thankful for that, but I'll probably vote for it today to go on to the full commission, to debate on the floor. But since last meeting, my biggest concern with this, and I don't know, number one, if the state legislature will do anything with it, but number two, my biggest fear would be, and I think one of our speakers mentioned this, you end up giving a lot of experience, wealth of knowledge for people that have had more than 2 terms. My first term, I was going to run 1 term, but I realized it takes 2 or 3 years to figure out what in the world is going on and how things work. So we could get in a situation as a full commission where we have 24 commissioners lose their seat, and then we don't have. So, I know this is not the place for debate. I'm just saying I would allow this to move forward. I'm going to vote for that, but I think our biggest problem is going to be 1 year we have 24 commissioners and 0 experience and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of budget that people are going to have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I would. I'm in favor, in general, in favor of term limits. I voted last meeting in favor. In the previous legislative committee, I don't know if it was the immediate, about probably two meetings ago, I made a couple of amendments that neither one of them passed. Actually, one of them passed, but then got taken off. But I would like to make those same amendments right now. My first amendment would be, instead of 2 4-year terms, it would be 3 4-year terms. And the reason being is sort of similar to what was just mentioned about, it takes a few years to sort of even understand it, and then all of a sudden you're in your second term. And so to me, at our county level, I personally think 3 4-year terms is more probably just manageable overall. So that would be my first amendment.
I think I seconded it last time, so just being consistent, I'll second it again.
Motion second on the amendment, any discussion on the amendment? I'm gonna make an amendment.
Well, did you have another one?
I have another one, but it's
This amendment's on.
Oh, okay, got it.
And this one might not
Yes.
be the same, but, I made my comments on the floor with that 9. I think that when you enact term limits, you are in essence taking the right of the citizen away to vote what he's going to vote for. Now, there's been some examples used of the city of Gallup and the city of Hendersonville with enacted term limits. You need to keep in mind, those are municipal races. They are nonpartisan. You run as an independent the entire time, whereas the county commission is partisan races. So the state party, the state Republican Party, I don't know about the Democratic Party, but the state Republican Party has standards in place that you got to qualify to be able to file. So if you don't meet those qualifications, my theory is very similar to what Commissioner Sullivan said. You could have a situation where you have 24. You could also have some districts that have nobody qualified from it. So you're eliminating a large swath of the population to be able to vote, or to be able to run for that particular office. So you've got that situation. I think maybe what we ought to do is to reach out to some folks at CTAS, maybe at the Tennessee County Service Association, maybe NACO, and get some perspective from them as to what we might even be able to do. I'm not even sure that this is going to, even if it passed in a private act, which I'm not sure that it would, even if it did, I'm not sure that the state could take it up, because we are not a charter county. From all indications, what I have heard and what I've read is that you got to be a charter county in order to be able to do this legally. general law. So what I would like to do is make a motion to table this for 1 month so that we can take a look, and maybe have some discussions with some folks a little bit higher.
I'll second that.
Okay.
You're getting cute.
Sure.
So I'll second that. I'm in favor of that. I also, if we do that, I want to go ahead and mention a couple of my other options or thoughts. Is related to some of the conversation we've had. I am strongly in favor of staggering our terms. Like the idea that we could have 24 turnover to me is sort of scary, to be honest with you, from the standpoint of like to me it'd be irresponsible to be in favor of allowing that to even happen. But I would be strongly in favor of staggering, where it's, currently we have 24, so it'd be 12 and 12. So I would want to understand that piece, and then what was my other one?
Payroll months,
Yeah, but I want to that to me is key in how I would end up voting. Because if it's not staggered, then I just have a really hard time getting behind supporting that. So, but
I think Commissioner Harris was actually first.
Go ahead, he touched on some of that, so,
Commissioner Rogers.
how would you stagger them? Would you have to go through CTAS like we did when we made 12 to 24?
I think that's a law question, because what I have read is that if
It'll be 4 years.
the state constitution does not allow that.
Correct.
So it would have to be general assembly.
So I had asked, I think Mr. Sidler, and I don't know if he's been able to figure it out yet, are there any counties that county commissioners are staggered? And if there aren't, then, but if there are, there's got to be a path to get there. So it's got to be. But if there's not, then I guess it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I absolutely would prefer the staggered terms but we would, however that would be worked out, I would imagine we could go through the same private act process. Because this term limits are not constitutional for a private act county either. Only charter counties is it constitutional for. It's not constitutional. The Supreme Court overruled that. And we are a private act county. We are not a charter county.
So I've got a couple.
Would you like me to chime in on this, because I have researched this exhaustively? Sure. Term limits are unconstitutional. The only way I could find that other counties were getting the term limit, let me rephrase that, not term limits, the staggered, is unconstitutional. The only way I could see other counties were getting in staggered terms was when they were doing redistricting, when they would bring in their new people in at a different phase. The only way that I can see this county could legally do it is to redistrict. And I know y'all just went through that, 7 years ago?
Well, but then, before.
Right. Yeah. Now, as far as the actual term limits, the law has said that yes, charter counties can do it, but there's no reason that counties that aren't charter counties can't do it, and that it would take something like a private act for the state to sign off on the ability to do that. The question is, would the state sign off on it and push through a private act for us to do it? I don't know. But the last charter county case, it didn't go all the way through, but the courts did weigh in on it and said that they could do that, and they laid the framework for other counties that were not charter counties to do the exact same thing. The county, I believe it was Hamilton County, ended up pulling it back. I believe they were even trying to term limit the mayor, that commission, and they ended up pulling it back because something got worked out, and then the case didn't make it all the way through. But I have spent a lot of time, I've even sent emails out this to the commissioners about my position on all of this. Some agree, some don't agree. A lot of the responses I've seen from CTAS have not said I'm wrong. They just give their opinion on what the current status is in relation to charter counties. So I will be more than glad to research this again and get another summary out next meeting. But I just want you to understand that that's probably gonna be very close to the same result today.
So, I'm against deferring it, and I'm gonna say why again, and I'm gonna come back to the fire tax. We're at step one of a 4 or 5 step process, and so, to me, there's no reason why we can't go ahead and pass this forward. I think we should do, because I agree with the staggering. But again, similar to the previous one, I think those are 2 separate things. These are 2 separate things we should ask for. And so what I'm going to be against deferring it, because I don't see that there's going to be material gain in a month, particularly after hearing our law director's comments. And we're very early on in this process. We have plenty of time to change as necessary. I would suggest, and I don't know that this is an amendment, but I would suggest that this body take up some mechanic to stagger our elections. And whether it's redistricting, we leave everything exactly the same, but just stagger. Got to be a way to do it. I think we should set that up. I think it should be separate from this. But I do think we should take it up, and I'll make one more comment on although I agree with staggering it, one more comment on the difficulty if 24 people come in. We had a very new commission this last time, and I was made budget chair. I don't know that it was a job well done, but what I would say is there's nothing special about me, and people got paid, and we haven't had tax raises, and we're fine. I think, somebody else will do the same thing. I think you can I have a lot of faith what I have faith in is a person who, when they are appointed to something that is important, that they will take that responsibility on. So I don't think that experience is as important on something like this as just the desire and will. And I have faith in people to do it. So even though I want to stagger it, I don't think we need to worry. I don't think we're all that special. I think anybody can. I think we can change these seats out, and this thing will keep on ticking. That's my thought.
I'll just make one comment about the staggered term. The state, the General Assembly does this. They have 99 to turn over every 2 years. And there's 435 members in Congress that turn over every 2 years. And so, or have the potential to do that. So,
just to add on that, but they don't have term. So they'll never get termed out. But you're right. So.
One thing, and I do agree with what you're saying, but I do think you could still be in a situation where, going back to what you said, Mr. Chair, that you could get a situation where nobody in your party runs, and then, so there needs to be something, I think, for that, and then I still think if you get, we had 8 people that had served before, either continuously or one term break, another term. But we have some people on here that have just a huge amount of experience. And I do think that was very helpful. Go ahead.
I remember my earlier thought. So, on a referendum standpoint, I would also, I'm going to vote to table this, but I also would want us to at least consider the fact that, let's say my district, it's like 80-20 in favor of term limits. Let's say there's a district, I'm going to make it 12, I don't know, whatever, some other district. Maybe they vote and they don't get to 50%. I would like to consider it be district by district for term limits as well. Because I don't want my district to tell another district how they need to vote, right? So, again, I don't know if that's either, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, that would be my district telling all these other districts that their vote doesn't matter for their own representative. So I think that is something we need to at least think about. Again, that may be completely impossible, but yeah, I saw a lot of people shaking their heads, but it's absolutely true. You may not want to admit it, but it's absolutely true. Good.
So, that's not what I wanted to speak to. I did ask a congressional candidate about term limits in Washington, and what did a lame duck look like? Because surely he had been around a few. And I think that's something that nobody considers. We think term limits will be a great cure-all for every bad candidate. And the key term there is every bad candidate. And he said they either grow a backbone they did not know they had, or they travel on the tax dollar for 2 years and don't show up to meetings and vote, which translates to either they're dangerous or they're lazy, in my mind. And I think that Owen has said one word about what happens to the guy who's got 4 years to collect a paycheck and do nothing, or collect a paycheck. Troublemaker. No one's discussed that.
I'm a
And this
collectively
discussion
troublemaker.
we've had. So, but in Alaska, because I did get a report from NACO, one of the things that you said about you wouldn't want Hendersonville to decide, I'm assuming you did that. We'll say Westmoreland.
Yes, Westmoreland.
Yeah, I think it's in Alaska, they said that they let the boroughs decide because when you go farther out rurally, they did not have term limits. And of course, their state constitution had to decide this. Their state lawmakers had to decide to allow the counties to do X, Y, and Z. That the ones with more abundant populations chose the term limits. The rural counties did not want term limits because they had smaller populations. That's what I wanted to bring to this conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for that.
Well, all due respect, Mr. Chairman, both. If we're gonna let each district decide their own, then leave it the way it is. They decide their own leadership now. If each district's not satisfied with who they've got, then they set the term limit when they go to the poll. I mean, that's, if we're, again, respectfully, if that's the way we're gonna go, then leave it the way it is, let the people decide. We hear it all the time. We're here for the people. We're all about the people. We're the people. Let the people decide.
I just want to, because Ms. Bergdorf quoted a congressman, I just want to quote a very intelligent commissioner that I spoke with one time, and she told me that serving on the commission makes a person grow up a little bit, and that you come in and you're mad about something. I know I was. You're mad about one thing or mad about another, and we were talking about that, and she said, you know, you get on there and it makes you grow up a little bit because you have to do all these things that you don't really think about or care about. And I think it would be one upside of, because I agree with that, and one upside of having more people churn through here is that more people have to be involved. I want more people to be involved. I want everybody who's mad about something to be on here and have to decide about something else that they don't really know or care that much about that makes somebody else mad, and I think we'd all be a lot happy and more cordial with each other if we did that. So anyway.
I'm good to go. You talk more than me.
I give up.
And that's why I would like to table this. I would, because I would like the rest of the information that I had time to cobble together from 2011 report, I would like to read more from NACO. And I am looking, I've calling to them to get more information on this. What in this 2011 report from NACO, which is National Association of Counties, by the way, of the states that had enacted term limits, a lot of them ended up in lawsuits. And even in Shelby County, it was 3 county commissioners who sued to get the term limit. So that's part of our job is to, as Commissioner Klein said in public comment, our responsibility is to protect the citizens and to protect their tax dollars. Lawsuits are not free. And I would just like to make sure that what we do when it happens is 100%. And I think another thing that needs to be stated is that we don't talk about this much at commission, but there is no stone in county government. The stone is about 4 years long, and when the new commission comes in, if they don't like it, they go right back through this process and do a private act to reverse it. And I just think I don't know that I don't remember that we discussed this, at 11 o'clock last month in commission. But I do know those are things that I wanted to be able to speak to for the record.
I'll make one more comment. I think we're ready to vote. On this agenda tonight, we're going to recognize and honor a man who served for 45 years. That'll never happen under term limits. Just think about that. Anyway, there's no other discussion. The item before us is tabling this for 1 month. So,
I'm gonna be like Chairman Becker second.
so all in favor of tabling? Give me a show.
On the agenda again next month.
Table it for 1 month to allow us to do a little more research and thought into it. All in favor by show of hands. All opposed? Motion carries 6-1. Okay, let's do something. By the way, I made a parliamentary faux pas, and I will own up to it. Motion table is actually not debatable, but for purposes of this, I think it was the right decision to go ahead and talk about it. All right, next item.
We need to chain this up, Mr. Chairman. We did the motion to amend it, don't we need to go ahead and?
Well, we're tabling.
I guess because it's a table.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
it'll
easy
be on
enough.
our business.
Got it.
Next item of business is the proposal to reorganize the opioid.
Second.
And I,
Chairman, if I could just point out that we do have the grant administrator here if anybody has any questions.
thank you.
I'll second and get in queue.
Okay. I'm going to get in queue first, just for purposes of, when this was brought to my attention, the only reason that this is really before us is because my understanding is that the committee as a whole was improperly constituted as an ad hoc rather than to be a standing committee. So I'm the one who wrote this, and certainly this is not exhaustive by any stretch. I was just kind of going on the fly and so there's certainly much room for debate, amend, add, take away, whatever. So I don't claim to be an expert in this particular field. So just want that noted for the record, Commissioner Shea.
Thank you. And I just want to make because I am going to make some changes, proposed changes to it. But I just want to note again that I absolutely think this is the right thing to do to push this committee on committees, because I don't personally want, as an individual, to be the person appointing a group that has the ability to swing this much money. And I don't think anybody should want that. So I think this is the right thing to do. However, given that said, I would make an amendment to change the structure of it as follows, and I'll give my rationale. One, I think we need to have 3 commissioners on here so that it is a committee. I'm not sure if you want to make something a standing committee, if it can, again, we may need the legal advice on this, but I'm not sure you can. I'm not 100% convinced that you could have only one commissioner on there. I could be wrong, but in any case, I want to change it to where it has 3 commissioners directly appointed by committee on committees. The county.
I guess it would kind of mirror financial management or something along those
very
lines.
Close. So that's similar to where I've come up with this logic. The county mayor would nominate 1 citizen who is a representative of the recovery community writ large. I think we had a citizen speak to that earlier. I think that having somebody from the recovery community is an important perspective. The county mayor would nominate a citizen who is a representative of the law enforcement or judicial community. So anywhere from the judicial court system or an officer, or anywhere in between. That would be a nomination from the county mayor. Ultimately, county of committees, just to note here, the county of committees would be the approval authority for all of this. but nominations would come from the county mayor. So the 3 are appointed directly. All of the rest of these are nominations to be approved by committee on committees. County mayor would nominate 1 citizen who's represented in law enforcement. I just stated that one. The county mayor would nominate 1 individual who is a member of who has a medical or medical professional background. So that one also from the county mayor, and then
That's 3 from the county.
3 from the county mayor, and then a 4th one just because I think it makes you want an odd number. 1 at-large citizen or commissioner, just an at-large individual to be nominated by the county mayor. That is my amendment here. I have another amendment, but I think this makes sense to go with this one first, similar to what Mr. Becker did earlier. That's my recommendation and amendment for how to change the structure of it.
Second. Discussing the amendment that's put forth by Commissioner Shelton.
I'm gonna speak to it, if nobody's questions.
I second.
Yes, he said.
Okay. So, when we were discussing the bylaw, because I sit on opioids, we currently have 5 county commissioners. When we initially got the money, it was $1 million. And that is a lot of money. But now it's dwindled to about $500,000. Okay, $1 million that year. Now it's dwindled to around $500,000. And we discussed in the committee that many of these companies are going bankrupt. So we may not get the $20 million over 20 years. It may end up that in 5 years there's no money left because all of the companies have filed bankruptcy. And I base it on tourism has 4 county commissioners with a budget of $760,000. Libraries have 5 libraries, $2.75 million in funding, and 1 government official on that board. These are not tax dollars, these are settlement dollars, so it's not citizen money. So to me, we don't need 3 commissioners, we don't need 4 commissioners. 1 commissioner, I propose would be good to give those other seats to citizens. Because I don't know any county commissioners who have dealt with drug use personally. So, in their personal lives. And I will also speak to that, I'm fine with the citizens that are on there now. I wanted more citizens to be on that board, not more commissioners. So I just wanted to say that.
This sort of points of request for information. I think Ms. Bergdorf just said that she sits on. I'm looking on the committee on the website, and again, I know this website stuff is not necessarily right or accurate, but I don't see Ms. Bergdorf's name on the current committee. So I don't know if the list I'm looking at is right or wrong or indifferent. But
I can give some.
But the website at least says Ms. Janung, Ms. Boyd, Sheriff Craig, John Isbell, Jeremy Mansfield, Danny Sullivan. I'm not familiar with Will Taylor, and then Matt Campbell is listed here. But along those lines, how long has this committee been in place? And then also, has it been the same members?
It is an ad hoc, and per our commission rules, ad hocs are 12 months or less.
I understand that, but in the real world, functioning world.
I can answer this. It's been going on for 2 years since we began receiving money. Is it okay if I answer?
Sure, absolutely.
So it has not been the same group. We have cycled folks in and out. That is mostly correct, I believe. Ms. Boyd has come, I think Ms. Boyd has come off and Ms. Bergdorf. She's not come off. Now I'm getting
I replaced some commissioner, I don't remember.
That's who it was. That was it has not been the same individuals. We have had people cycle in and out of it. And frankly, we've had enough churn on it that it was. This is why I wanted to reduce it to 7. I would really want to reduce it to 5, but I think to get a good representative, 7 is probably good there. It's hard to get quorum. I actually agree with the comments that in terms of the people that are in the seats now, like we kind of have I would at least maybe make a recommendation to keep as much of that as you can, because we do have folks who are there and it's solid and it's moving, and so if you try to reconstitute it completely, I think it took a full year to get that thing to where it was in a good spot, and it is in a good spot now, and so I wouldn't actually want to change any of the names at this point. I would just want it to not be on me moving forward. Maybe that's even an amendment here, but let's do this. I'm gonna make another amendment, which was going to be that, or maybe it's just a recommendation committees, depending on how this goes. I just think the way I've laid it out here would allow for the majority of the current folks to remain on it and still allow committee on committees to handle it, which I do think is the right thing. So I'm just going to leave it as is. But there's been a lot of commentary earlier about continuity. This is one where we've kind of got some continuity, and it may make sense to keep it.
Mr. Chairman, if I'm not mistaken, I think when this all came about, I guess my question and comment is going to go toward legal. I believe that we was directed at the time that this had to be under budget when this all came about, and that's why Chairman Shutt's like, great, here we go. Because I've served on the committee, and then I believe at the time we was meeting on Tuesdays or Thursdays and boys had basketball games or football or something that I wasn't able to attend. But I was serving on that committee, and if I'm not mistaken, it was statute that this stayed under budget. So that would be my question.
I would have to defer to the grant writer as to where we're at now. I do know it started out under budget because there was a lot of appropriations going back and forth, and that was the cleanest way to get stuff moving through. And then it just stayed there. I don't know that there was a statutory provision that required it to be there.
I think it was.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
To answer your question, Commissioner Rogers, at this point in time, there is no rule in the environmental state statute saying that we have to report to budget. Looking at other counties, when we had the Middle Tennessee Summits, some of the counties actually gave it to not-for-profits, and then they had to turn around and give reports back to the county commission. If you're looking at Montgomery County, they have a subcommittee as well. Their subcommittee does reports and budgets, but it is made up of 18 of individuals. So it just depends on what Sumner County would like to achieve.
We'll bring us back in session. Any other discussion? Commissioner Shutt's amendment is before the body.
For special information, can you repeat?
I can. So I'll try to state it. In all cases, the committee on committees is the authority for appointment. They will appoint 3 commissioners directly. Everything that all of the citizens that follow are nominated by the county mayor, but we're still appointed by committee on committees. That is one citizen who's a representative of the recovery community writ large. One is a citizen who is a representative of the law enforcement or judicial communities. One citizen who is a representative of the medical community, and then one at large, for a total of 7. That is my amendment.
I would like to amend that. 1 commissioner and 3 at-large citizens. I'm taking you down from 3 commissioners to 1, and then make it 3 at-large citizens, or still a total of 7.
All mayor appointed,
Is the mayor appointing the citizens?
the at-large, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're nominated.
Oh, I see. That's in addition to. So you're leaving on the citizens appointment. You're saying that you're substituting out 2 of the commissioners, and you're adding 2 more citizens for at large. Okay, I understand. Still 7. Okay, I understand. I'm against it, but I understand.
Well, I'm against yours, but
For special information. So So are you saying, is this amendment to the amendment?
Yeah.
It stays at 7,
Yeah.
but it goes from 3 commissioners and 1 at-large to 1 commissioner and
3 at large.
That's a proposed.
Yeah.
and the 3 at-large could or could not be
Mayor appointments.
No, they're citizens.
okay, so non-commissioned citizens. Okay.
How do they get here? I just want to be clear on that. Is that mayor nominated or is it commission nominated? How do you want that to play out?
I think I want them to be committee on committee nominated, the citizens. Let the mayor have the recovery community, the law enforcement, and the medical professional community.
And then all at
All
large
of
is committee on committees?
Yes, and all of it will be, approved by committee on committee.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second.
And
Just for kicks, can you restate all of that?
No.
So that we, so that I know what I'm voting on?
Yes. But I do want to say why.
Sure.
Because the citizens, and I said this when we were redoing our bylaws, citizens may have one job, we all have jobs, we all come to commission. They may have one job, but they have a lot more time to be involved on this board. We've had trouble with quorum for opioids. I think commissioners are, those of us that are on opioid now, Dylan Lambert sent in his resignation because of this time in his life. It's just one more night he can't spend. I think our citizens that would be involved in this, I would think there would be citizens like Mr. Campbell who are recovered or have personally dealt with recovery and have overcome those struggles, that we could have, they would be more invested to go to the behavioral health clinic or go to the picnic in the park or have time to go to recovery court. I've never had time to go to recovery court because I'm always at commission. So they would have time to be involved in things that I can't be involved in as a commissioner. I'm speaking for myself, but I feel like broadly that's speaking. So I will restate that amendment to the amendment. I would like 1 county commissioner, 1 mayor appointment from the recovery community, 1 mayoral appointment from the law enforcement or judicial community, 1 mayor appointment from the medical professional community, 3 at-large citizens that would be county commission appointed.
Through the committee on committees.
Or committee on committees, yes, sorry, because they will all be county commissioners.
Okay. Any discussion to this amendment?
I still said,
Yes.
I wanted to get some clarification of, during the recognition of public, it was mentioned about losing some grant money with this change. I don't understand, I wasn't following that, like, I don't understand why we would potentially lose any money from the grant money by making this change.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
But that was mentioned by a couple.
Motion to suspend the rules, all in favor? Any opposed?
And regarding the grant funds, right now you're in the middle of the contract season. We have 3 entities that have not signed their contracts, Health Department being one. The major one that I'm concerned about right now is the not-for-profits for recovery courts. Right now they're looking at renovations, so if you are to suspend this current committee, then I don't have a way to execute the contracts or some of the changes that have been requested. So there's going to be a loss between it. The contracts that we offer to the community is for 1 year. So the longer this goes, the harder it is for those people to execute what is needed in their contracts. So if you're looking at losing money, it's not the county losing money, it's being able to have recovery court not-for-profits use that $132,000, which has a 1-year contract, to actually help the renovation of the courthouse. Or in the case of the health department, it's for them to be able to use that $4,000 to buy fentanyl strips to hand out, so that way they can use it. So it's not losing money from the county side, it's losing money on their side because the contracts have not been fully executed.
What Well, why would setting this up, so if we kept the current committee in place until this other committee got stood up, so there's no overlap, or no gap.
I would ask for there to be a deadline date, so that way I could work with the current committee to make sure that all the contracts are fully executed. So that way you don't have to worry about the overlap. You can just say, starting on, we'll just say January 1st, the new committee takes effect. That way I still have time to work with the old committee to make sure all loose ends are tied up and that those that have been awarded funds can have it.
So you're saying that all of these contracts will be executed by 12/31?
That is what I am aiming for. Right now, I only have 3.5 out of house. One of them has come back. I just need to review.
Yeah, so if we did that, just as a point of information, based on the way our committee structure is set up, this initial committee would only serve through the end of, through 8/31, basically, because you will have a new commission, regardless of who's elected or whatever. So, Mr. Silver.
Here's the thing, if they're not answering the budget, you're trying to create a freestanding committee. This is still gonna have to go to commission to ratify the committee. So we're still 2 months out on this, just getting this thing ratified. I just wanted everybody to be aware that it won't go into play outside of this vote.
Right, yeah, yeah. The commission meets next month.
And the old committee is still in play.
Yes. I don't think there's anybody that wants to do that.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we've got our dates kind of in line. So, Mr. Rocky.
When does the next application start? I can't remember.
We were hoping to start the next application season in November. That would put a hold on that one. Right now, you have $190,000 that was going to be offered to the community for review and to be placed into the FY26, FY27 budget. But because we'd be switching or moving the committee members around, we would probably be requesting the funds to be placed into the budget with them making a recommendation after the calendar year, or after the fiscal year, sorry about that.
Well, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Since I'm on the committee? Why would it have to, why does it have to go to the next calendar year? Why does changing the people in the seats change the review process? Because they will not have reviewed yet?
Because they have not had reviewed yet, we have to bring them up to par as far as what is expected out of them. Being on the committee, as some of you all know, it requires meeting the state statutes as Exhibit E to make sure that all the applications do. So we would have to bring everybody up to par as far as what is expected, how to score the applications, go through the application process to make sure they didn't want to add or subtract anything, and then on top of it, get it publicized, have a month for people to apply, have it come back, have an initial review, and then give it to all the committee members. So that is why you would have a delay.
It is a lot to review those applications, I will say. How many motions?
We're still under suspension.
Yeah, but how many do we
We're
have?
at the end of the
We have an amendment.
We have two.
Yeah, there's amendment and amendment. So, but it may or may not, on his input here, but you mentioned that this committee, whoever it is August 31st, and I don't necessarily think that that's,
Well, your commissioners would.
well, in this case, there'd be one that would roll off, but the other 6 could continue on. And if there's application seasons, I think that's the word.
Yeah.
Then I think that makes sense. If we go this route, at least in this amendment to the amendment, there would be 6 of those committee members that would be able to go forward. And so if November 1 is it, I would think, and this is, I'm just talking, is that maybe this amendment to the amendment could potentially add a November 1 date and make it, and we're good. But that's just a comment.
Thank you. It brings back under rules. Here's a thought. Maybe we could lay this on the table until the November meeting.
That's what I thought, just
Yeah.
get cleaner and then
Yeah.
pick it up and move it in.
And then
Second.
No debate.
Oh, you're right. We've got to pull.
Well, if I pull my amendment,
You can't pull yours.
yeah, she's okay.
I like my amendment.
Just write it down for November.
I've got it, I've got it.
I will withdraw my amendment.
I would draw it, assuming, yeah, because we're gonna take it.
Is there any benefit of us doing this ahead of November, so we can get the committee in place before November 1st?
Well, if he's talking about a 12/31 deadline, and this committee meets in November, it would be ratified, hopefully, in the November commission. That would give roughly 45 days.
What you have to
to
do
bring
is,
them up to speed.
the main thing is it needs to, because we're into the 12-month thing, so the question is, when do we, and I forget, I think January, when do I need to reappoint it? Because it needs to be before I reappoint. That's
Correct.
If you want, what we can do is we can go ahead and kick this to commission and at least get the formation of the committee out of the way and leave it open enough to where to be formed by a committee on committees. And then you can figure out, even in committee on committees, create this template that you want to use, and you'll at least have a committee, like an empty car waiting on passengers to get inside, basically.
All right, so I'll make an amendment.
We're back on the motion.
So, yeah, we're back in the motion, so we're gonna amend it. I'm gonna keep my exact same amendment, because it's the same thing, and that gets passed on.
Gosh, I can predict what's about to happen.
I know, and then, I mean, I'm fine with tabling it, honestly. If we can table it a month, we're already over time. I mean, I don't think anything happens. You know what, I motion to table this for a month. So, a month.
Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor? Any opposed?
Yeah,
Motion
one month.
carries. Now, we're
Motion
down to,
to approve 10A.
we got some more items.
Yeah,
Oh, you added, my
Yeah,
bad, my bad.
more items. Grant, pass-through.
Second.
Now, that motion needs to include pending legal approval of the contract and pending
Budget.
budget.
Same.
You
I do have a question.
Yeah, I'm good with this.
So, I don't want to go down a rabbit trail with respect to other committees, but, I think we kind of got tied up in this when it first started before,
Yes.
of why we have our hands on city's money.
And I don't understand it either.
I think this is additional funds.
It's just a pass-through though, we don't touch it, we're not obligated to anything.
I have not
So far.
seen the paperwork,
Right.
that's why it needs to be continued
Is
for legal.
there anything gonna break if we table this for a month?
It could
It's
potentially.
time sensitive.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have even brought it. I would have brought it in October.
This is late on.
We'll touch it in budget. We'll get in budget. We'll get to it in budget.
Oh, there you go. All right, good.
For you?
It still needs to come out of legislative.
Correct.
Got a motion to approve, subject to,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The COLA for the, library.
So, second, but I have a question here. What, do we need to do anything in legislative, because I'm planning on taking this up in budget? Do we need to do?
It's already been appropriated in budget. It's been already appropriated.
Well, that's,
It's been handed out.
that's my point. So I'm planning on just trying to deal with this in budget. What do we need to do in legislative? Okay.
Suspend the.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The way we understand the library's control, the library board controls the library with the director. Right now, Hendersonville does not have a director or a interim director. The library chairman saying that therefore it falls back up on the library board that has not met. They have not received a raise, but they've also, right now, Hendersonville cannot hire employees, so what's going on, in lieu of shutting down the library at this point, we're hiring employees in Gallatin, and they are actually working in Hendersonville.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's
So
ridiculous.
right now, the only other option is they're down full-time and part-time. The mayor called me, and really you're just coding those by locations, and commissions controls usually by major category, which is libraries. Doesn't make me the most comfortable. My only other option was to say no, and they were gonna have to shut down libraries. So right now, there needs to be a library board meeting to deal with.
So here, I'm gonna make a comment, if it's okay, in this. Here's how we're gonna try to resolve this, and then,
We're back under the rules.
just to make a note here, you can see me getting animated. I saw this coming. I put somebody up there, and we didn't want to vote for him. That's okay. And then we didn't bring him back on because we deferred it. We deferred this person, and and they didn't get back on committees, because your motion was to defer, my nominee. And it never came back on committees. Never came back on. So, what we're gonna solve this. I'm gonna figure out how to solve this tonight, so that we can pay people and we can hire people. And I'll override that. We'll figure out how to override, if we need to override and we can do it legally. The library board will do it, but on the floor, I'm gonna nominate the same individual for library committee, and I highly recommend that the library committee, with quorum, have an emergency meeting to solve the problem. So that's what we need to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just letting everybody know.
May I add to that, as chairman of committee on committee? I spoke with Mr. Wasilowski this week. He said he prefers to be on the industrial development committee. He does no longer wish to be on the library board, Mr. Schoaf, Commissioner Schoaf, and I'm very sorry that we have to go through
Point of
this.
order. We still need to be talking to the chair.
Yes, I'm very sorry, Mr. Chairman of legislation, that we are having to go through this and deal with this. And we can talk about it again in budget, or we can talk about it now.
What do we need to do here? What do we need
I
to do?
wanted to, if we had time, and we don't, and that's fine. I just think in the event this were to occur again, we needed a resolution that said budget can take care of these things in the event there is not a director or an interim in the library.
Second.
If I may, this is gonna be a library board amendment as well, because everything's at the discretion of the library board's our problem. So, the library board's over the directors are over all of the employees underneath them. So if the library board wants to change their operating procedure to say, in the event this happens again, finance has authority to do A, B, and C, then that's fine. But this isn't just a complete commission override here.
So we can't do that in budget, even if I wanted to. Oh, sorry, I'm out of order. I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think for this committee, as far as our nose is concerned, we have a motion and second on the floor to move this on the budget. So I'd call the question.
Question's been called, or second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now the next is for,
Motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion adjourned.
No.
Second.
No one ago, you was ready to move.
You call the question. We did not only have a vote for the,
I thought that's what we just voted.
sorry.
Yeah, you're correct. Motion for, to approve general witness recognition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, 5-minute break.